Hello everyone and welcome to the Bitter Popcorn channel, and today I will do the recap on the movie The Last Voyage of the Demeter 2023. Watch this video till the end and you will see the review and some interesting facts about this movie. Sit down comfortable in your chairs, buckle up and enjoy the ride. In 1987, a big ship is traveling from Romania to England, but when it reaches the shores, it's all broken and empty. The people on the lighthouse team find the broken ship and get a diary from the captain. The diary tells about what happened to the crew. 4 weeks earlier, Captain Elliot and his first mate, Wojciech, are looking for people to join their crew on the ship called Demeter. They want to sail to England. A doctor named Clemens asks to join them. He studied at a place called Cambridge, but Wojciech says no. He picks 3 other guys instead. Still, Clemens decides to come along. As the men load stuff into the ship, one guy gets scared when he sees a box with a picture of a dragon on it. He drops the box. It almost falls on the Captain Elliot's grandson Toby, but Clemens saves Toby just in time. The scared guy leaves, thinking the dragon picture is a bad luck. Captain Elliot is thankful to Clemens. They all get on a ship, including crew members Abrams, Olgarin, Petrovsky, Larsen, and Joseph. Toby shows Clemens around the ship. He shows him the animals they brought and his dog Huckleberry.
Get this mutt out of my kitchen!
Later they all have a dinner together. Clemens says he wants to understand how the world works. Meanwhile, the box with the dragon picture starts moving. It falls down and something comes out of it. They start sailing to England, but they find out later that something killed Huckleberry and the animals very violently. Toby is really sad about losing his dog Huckleberry. He was supposed to take care of animals, so he feels responsible. Clemens confronts him. They throw the dead animals into the water. Then they check the stuff in the ship and find a woman named Anna. She's almost dead, hiding in one of the boxes. Clemens gives her some blood to help her stay alive. One of the guys, Petrovsky, says mean things about Clemens and Anna. Clemens tries to stand up for himself, but another guy, Larsen, threatens him with a knife. Toby tells Clemens that the woman's name is Anna and that she said a few words. At night, Petrovsky is watching the deck while everyone else is sleeping. He hears a noise and goes to see. He sees a weird-looking creature crawling on a deck. Before he can do anything, the creature attacks him and hurts him badly. When the crew sees Petrovsky's blood on the deck, they get scared. Wojciech thinks Clemens did something, even though Clemens told him about Petrovsky. Later at night, Olgarin and Larsen are on watch. The same creature attacks Larsen, hurts him, and then eats him. Olgarin climbs up high to escape, but the creature follows him. It bites Olgarin's head, and he's hurt really bad. They tie Olgarin to a bed to help him, but when night comes, he gets free and goes after Toby. He changed into a dangerous person because of the creature. Toby hides in a room and locks the door. The rest of the crew realizes something wrong and goes downstairs. They stop Olgarin and try to open the locked door, but the creature is after Toby. Anna grabs a gun and shoots the lock, but it's too late. The creature hurt Toby and took a lot of his blood. Abrams is left to watch the deck at night. Joseph hits him and tries to escape the ship on a lifeboat to get away from the creature. But the creature can fly and finds Joseph, killing him. The boat returns to the ship empty and with blood. Toby is taken care of and Olgarin is tied to a ship's mast. He says he can hear the wind, ocean, and people's blood. The sun rises and Olgarin feels a burning sensation. Sunlight touches his skin and he burns before Wojciech shoots him. Anna talks to Clemens and tells him what's causing all this. She lived near a castle with a creature who is Dracula. Dracula beat Anna, but Clemens' transfusions stopped her from turning into a creature like Olgarin. Elliot wants to stop at the next port for safety, but the crew refuses because they want the promised bonus. The crew is afraid Toby will turn, so they wrap him in a sheet and prepare to throw him into the ocean. After Anna prays, Elliot thinks Toby moves and opens the sheet. Toby becomes like a vampire, burning in the sunlight. They throw him into the ocean and he dies. As the ship gets closer to England, the crew worries about bringing Dracula with them. Elliot believes they can use Dracula to bring back Toby. Anna talks to him about it. The crew decides to fight Dracula by sinking the ship. Night falls and Dracula kills Abrams and Wojciech. Dracula chases Elliot. Clemens fights Dracula, but it's overpowered. Anna shoots Dracula and traps him under the mast. They escape the ship as it crashes to the shores. Dracula escapes. Clemens is in London and the Demeter crew is declared dead. Clemens seeks the abbey where Dracula lived and hears knocking like on the ship. Dracula is in London, disguised as a man with a wolf cane. Clemens follows Dracula, determined to send him back to hell. Thanks a lot for watching. Hit that like button, subscribe, and see you in the next episode.
2, 3.
I love vampire movies. I mean real vampire movies.
I am Dracula.
Not the glamorous nonsense from teen shows. The idea of a vampire here is fantastic. The vampire is created in the best Bram Stoker traditions. An untalented genius representing universal evil and the complete hopelessness of its victims. Doomed to die since the events take place on a ship and there is simply nowhere to escape. Nice done, man. In 1897, the Irish writer Bram Stoker released the gothic novel Dracula, which to this day remains a true phenomenon on a global pop culture. The adaptation of the bloodthirsty vampire for the cinema began in the early 1920s, and since then, creators of the films and series about vampires and Count Dracula have resorted to various plots. What is also worth mentioning is that the film Renfield, released earlier this year with Nicolas Cage in the leading role.
I am Dracula.
Okay, obviously we're dealing with a little bit more than just narcissism here.
The first in the whole history was the Hungarian-Austrian silent film Death of Dracula in 1921, which to be fair had nothing in common with the original but borrowed some common traits. Just a year later, the German silent film Nosferatu, a symphony of horror by Friedrich Wilhelm Murnau was released, which was essentially an adaptation of a Stoker's novel, but names and other proprietary titles were changed for legal reasons. The first sound version of Dracula was released in 1931 in the USA with Bela Lugosi in a leading role.
But no, this is no dream. This is Dracula.
And from 1958 to 1976, more than a dozen films were made with Christopher Lee as Dracula, with a wide range of genres and plots. The studio of Andy Warhol even managed to create its very original version of the story called Blood for Dracula, starring an incredibly unconvincing Otto Kyer. However, perhaps the most famous and the highly canonical film became Bram Stoker's Dracula, directed by Francis Ford Coppola, with Gary Oldman in the leading role, released in 1992. In fact, it was after its release that the then aspiring screenwriter Brady F. Schut, later his screenplays were used for films like Season of the Witch, Claustrophobia, and The Samaritan. So this Brady F. Schut saw the model of the ship Demeter made for the Coppola's film and became inspired to dedicate a separate story to its journey. He took as a basis the 7th chapter of a Stoker's novel Dracula called The Captain's Log, in which the journey of Dracula from Transylvania to London was described in the format of ship's logbook. This idea was quite fresh as in previous popular adaptations of the novel. However, it took Scott another decade to interest film studios with his screenplay and another 2 decades for the film finally to be released. In the end, in 2019, the film's director was announced to be Norwegian Øvredal, whose most famous project at that time was the dark fantasy film Trollhunters. 2 years later, the cast of the film was finally announced.
You did. You crazy son of a bitch, you did.
At the beginning of the film, during the storm, the trading ship Demeter is stranded off the English coast, on board of which the police find the captain's journal, describing horrible things. After that, viewers are transported to the Bulgarian port of Varna, where 4 weeks earlier, Demeter, led by experienced Captain Elliot, takes on board a mysterious cargo in the form of several boxes with strange symbols, which needs to be delivered to London as quickly as possible for the large sum of money. From the very beginning, this idea looks suspicious suspicious, but despite all the warnings, the crew set out on a journey. Their problem started almost immediately. First, someone killed all the animals on board. Then in one of the boxes they found a barely alive and sick girl. And then the crew members started to disappear, die or turn into strange creatures. After several absurd and not very logical attempts by the remaining crew to resolve the situation, viewers have more and more doubts that anyone will survive, especially since the original novel claims that no one survived.
2, 3.
Overall, the plot of the Last Voyage of the Demeter is a loose interpretation of one of the chapters of the novel, which only serves as inspiration. The characters, except Dracula himself, are fictional in the film, which is why the creator of the film left themselves several possibilities for improvisation, including the ending. Who are, by the way, the main actors? The central character in the film is Dr. Clemens, who despite his education cannot find a job due to the color of his skin. He boards the Demeter in hopes of returning home to England from Romania, where he had difficulties with yet another job for the same reason. The role is played by American actor Corey Hawkins. He played in the movies like Straight Outta Compton and In the Heights. Also Irish actor Liam Cunningham, best known to viewers for his role as Ser Davos Seaworth in the series Game of Thrones, played the captain of the Demeter, and David Dastmalchian from Ant-Man Suicide Squad played his assistant Wojciech. Irish actress Aisling Franciosi, who is Lyanna Stark in the same Game of Thrones, got the role of a mysterious girl Anna, who ended up on board of the Demeter, along with a vampire cargo. Dracula in the film was played by Spanish actor Javier Botet, who has a long list of roles as supernatural creatures, including in films like Crimson Peak, Mama, Wreck, Conjuring 2, The Thin Man, and many others. So let's talk about reaction to the film. The film Last Journey of the Demeter was released worldwide in early August 2023 and received rather modest reviews. Currently on IMDb, it is a rating of 6.5 out of 10, and on a Rotten Tomatoes, 49% approval from critics compared to 75% from general audience. Meanwhile, on Metacritic, film critics gave the film 52 out of 100 and viewers 5.7 out of 10, which in both cases corresponds to the description of the mixed average reviews. Also, the film turned out to be a failure in terms of box office. Starting from August 10, 2023, it collected just over $30 million worldwide, and this is with a budget of $45 million. My verdict: it is difficult to count how many times the story of the bloodthirsty vampire Dracula and his ilk has been embodied on both big and small screens. Some of these films and series have been classic of world cinema, while the majority have turned out to be quite good. Unfortunately, The Last Journey of the Demeter is more likely to fall into the second category. The film cannot be called bad, but it also does not stand out in any special way. Yes, the film explores a relatively uncharted part of Bram Stoker's novel and even allows for some deviations from the original with hints of continuation, but it is unlikely that it will appear. The creators simply could not skillfully use the source material. The film is not really scary enough, and it does not reach the level of a deeper drama. One can also find fault with the graphics and the logic of the actions of the characters. In simpler terms, this is an average movie that you can watch to pass the time. After watching it, you will not feel any disappointment, but if you don't watch it, you won't miss anything. This is my opinion. So thanks a lot for watching, guys. Like if you liked it, subscribe, and don't forget to leave a comment. And see you in the next episode.